All right, I'm here with my buddy Scarlett. In this video, we're gonna go over something called the Engage Disengage game. There's a gentleman who's gonna be walking his dog up here. Scarlett is reactive to some dogs, and he said his dog's a little bit excited. You can go ahead and come on down, thank you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reward her with a treat every time that she looks at this other dog. Now we wanna make sure that she does not react, so I'm gonna add a little space. If you can step into the street here, make sure you see me and her and the dog. Maybe take a step back if you need to. So I'm positioning Scarlett so she can see this dog. And what I'm going to do is every time she looks at this dog over there, then she gets a treat. And you can just keep on walking. That's perfect. That's all we needed. Thank you. Now you want to have a whole bunch of treats in your hand ready to go. So all I'm doing, trying to do is create what's called a positive emotional response with Scarlett. So she looks at the other dog, I click, or say the mark word, and then she looks away from the dog to get a treat. I'm gonna have the guardian come here so we're not in the street. I see another dog pass by.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do that again, just real quick. That's it. That was a pointer. You missed a pointer. All right, so we have enough, a little example right here. Actually, I'm gonna have you stand over there. There's another dog crossing here. Here, Scarlett, sit. It's a good looking puppy you got there. So I'm just gonna wait for Scarlett to look. Go. So what I'm trying to do is say when the dogs are approaching, I'm going to click when you look to let her know that looking at the dog is what the human wanted, and then I get a treat for that. Now the key for doing this is she can't react, so I've got to be mindful and manage her area. I got to be mindful and manage the situation. Now this is not the ideal situation. When that dog came by here, there's not a lot of space between. This is Santa Monica. There's not a lot of space between the street and the sidewalk. So you want to make sure that you don't get her trapped. Now you see her body language, her tail's wagging, it's going parallel with her spine. She looks nice and comfortable, she's sniffing. She's doing what I call fidelity of movement. She's kind of stopping and smelling the roses or the flowers, the grass. If the dog's just like this and staring and stiff and still, it's really focused on that. And that's not what we want. We don't want her practicing being aroused, we want her practicing being relaxed. I'm relaxed, I look at the dog, I hear a click, and that causes me to turn and look at the click, so I'm looking away from the dog. This is called the Engage Disengage game. So first what we do is we click when she looks at the dog, and if we practice with loading the clicker, which we did inside, the dog eventually just turns away to get that treat. You give a treat, the dog usually looks back, you click again, they look back to get the treat. Now this is the first stage of this. The second stage, and I'll explain in a second how you do all this, the second stage is, let's say that tree is the dog. The dog's gonna go like this and look back at you, anticipating that you're gonna give him the treat before you click. So at first you're gonna click like this, and it causes the dog to look back. But eventually you're gonna click like this, when the dog turns away and looks back at you. So now we're engaging, or we're rewarding the disengage aspect of it. Now we're doing this, you see right now she's got her mouth open, she's a beautiful girl, and she's nice and relaxed. If you do this properly, your dog should look very relaxed throughout. If your dog starts getting stiff and still, you're getting close to their breaking point. Many people think the breaking point is the dog lunging, or the start of the conversation is the snapping, barking, lunging. That's usually the end. The dog has been saying no, no, no by being stiff, closing my mouth, staring, my ears come forward. I'm, getting, my leaning, I'm breathing heavy, my tail's up. And we're just like doopsie-doo, we don't recognize those things. So if let's say that was the case, then I would turn and move her further away. The first indication she gives me that she's uncomfortable, we're gonna move away and I'm gonna solve the problem for her. But ideally, let's say that the space between me and this tree is like 20 yards. And she's comfortable at 20 yards looking at that, and I click and she's looking away. Then after a while, then we might be able to go to 18 yards, 17 yards, 16. There's no rhyme or reason. You have to go at your dog's pace is the most important thing. Now, but this is like a roller coaster. This is a very emotionally charged thing. If you do it right, you're like, oh, the dog looks relaxed. Under the surface, they're kind of really charged up. So what I usually try to do is I try to do this like at a park where I have a lot of open space. And so I go practice for about a minute, having the dog look at these other dogs, minute, maybe 2 minutes. You can go up to 3 or 4 minutes if it's going well. But then I walk far away and away from the other dogs, let her decompress. Pat her, do some find its, whatever it is your dog finds rewarding or relaxing. Give her 3 to 5 minutes to just kind of relax. Then I go back to where the dogs are, practice for another 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes, and then go back and relax. So I try to do on and off about 3 or 4 times. So you're getting about 3 to 6 minutes worth of actual practice of that. But the key is we want to practice success. A lot of people do what I call practice to failure. They keep on getting closer and closer until the dog lunges. The end of the exercise is the most important thing. That's what your dog's going to remember the most. So if I keep on walking closer and closer, and then the dog's like, every time at the end of this thing, there's a fight, well then I'm having a problem. I'm going to have you come over here. There's a dog coming up behind us, so we're going to practice again. Try to look at me when you're going through that. Go a little bit over there. And so Scarlet is kind of checking things out. Scarlet, sit. Now I'm asking her to sit because it makes it a little bit easier for the shot. But don't make your dog sit. If your dog doesn't want to sit, that's an indicator they don't feel comfortable. So the dog's going to appear right here in a sec. Scarlet, sit. Now she didn't even see that dog, which is fine. But you want to, when you're doing an environment like this, you got to have your head on a swivel. We don't want to have a dog sneak up behind us and then she lunges because she gets startled. We want to have her, here, sweetie. We want to have her relaxed. And so that's why I like doing this in the park, because I can see a big distance where everybody is, and then I'm not caught by surprise. And the dog recognizes that, yeah, this is what we're doing. I look at a dog, he clicks, and I get a reward, and that dog doesn't get close enough for me to feel any sort of tension. And then after a while, we can get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. But make sure you stop before your dog starts getting stiff. If your dog is a little bit stiff, it's okay, a little bit, but I prefer it just like they're completely relaxed. And it might take you several practice sessions. Now, it also matters the other dog. If you have a dog that's like her, she's being really relaxed right now, she has a pretty calm energy, sit. And if the dog's like that, you probably can get a lot closer. You get a dog that's really boisterous and barky, or a dog that's running, or dogs that are playing fetch, you might have to move some space away. So it's not a constant construct. It's going to ebb and flow based on the other dog, and that's fine. The other thing is dog training and dog behavior modification is not a linear process. So it doesn't always go up like a bell curve. Sometimes you're going to have a bad day, and you're like, we were like 5 feet away from dogs yesterday, and now I have to be 25 feet? What's wrong with you? Nothing. These are emotions. This is not a conscious decision the dog makes. I'm going to be a jerk to that dog. I'm acting aggressive, what we perceive as aggressive, to make the other dog go away, because it works. Well, if as a human, I'm minding it, and I'm moving her away, and I'm managing the distance, and then facilitating every time you look at that dog when you feel relaxed, you get a treat, then I'm going to look at them more and more often, and I'm relaxed and comfortable, and I enjoy doing that. And gradually you get closer and closer together. Now, something else I like to do is something called a parallel walk. We're going to walk this way because we have another dog coming up. All right, sit. That's a beautiful husky you got there.
Thank you. It's a Pomsky.
Or Pomsky? That's a really big Pomsky. I just worked one yesterday. It was this big. Are you going to walk this way?
Yep.
We're shooting a little video. She's reactive for dogs, so your dog's going to be a good practice if she wants to go.
He's purely play, but he's probably going to jump.
There we go. So I was just talking about that on camera. So she's just mentioning her Pomsky is very playful. So if he's really boisterous and bouncing around, you might need to move several feet away. And a lot of it's just you're going to observe the dog as they're coming. Now, I asked her if she could help us out. I'm chatty, I'm happy to do that. You don't necessarily have to do that, but be mindful of other people. If somebody else is avoiding you, they might have a reactive dog too, and they're trying to get their dog not to do it. But if are you guys going to walk, or are you staying there? If you could, that'd be great. And you see the body language, the ears look nice. Boom. Now sometimes they'll get a fake look. There you go. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful walk. Now, something else that truck reminds me of. We live in, this is Santa Monica, it's a pretty urban environment. We don't think about it. That truck coming by was adding an extra element of stimulus. So if there's a baby crying, somebody has a leaf blower or a lawnmower, or there's a dog barking, or there's a truck backing up, there's a helicopter overhead, those things can be added triggers and can cause the dog, nice tail wag, we're adding extra stuff to it. Having a reactive dog is hard enough. So we want to make sure that we're basically working at the dog's pace and not ask for too much. So if you're going to do this and you haven't seen any dogs for a while and then there's a helicopter overhead, walk away. We want to practice success, not reactivity. All right, let me see. Come here. Sit. Now I ask a dog to sit because for me, my two tests. Will the dog sit the first time I ask, and will it take a treat? And if it won't do either one of those, it's not being disobedient. It might be saying, I'm too close to whatever that stimulus is. So just move 5 feet away, ask for another sit, provided your dog knows how to sit. And move 5 feet away until you find the distance where your dog will sit and take a treat. That's where you should start practicing. And then keep note. Also, different types of breeds of dogs might be more reactive. Some dogs are like, I had a bad experience with a golden retriever. So I'm gonna be more reactive to golden retrievers. Scarlet, come here, sweetie. All right, well, just sit. Yeah, and look at that nice open mouth. And that's the other thing, make sure you can see me through that. Okay,
yeah.
Scarlet. So if you see her stiff, still, staring, tail going up, hackles up, leaning towards something, breathing heavy, those are her signs that she's a little uncomfortable. There's others as well, but those are the main things you're gonna look for. So if you see her sniffing the ground, her tail's out in the, sticking out from her spine, her eyes are soft, her face is relaxed, her body's relaxed, and she's checking out the environment, then she's probably in a good mood. Try to position her like I was doing so that she's looking towards the dog, and that's the nice thing about that hand targeting exercise I showed you. Scarlet. Try to not compete with the dog's nose. You're almost always going to lose. How about if I have some salmon? Will I win for salmon? Yeah, I think so. Charlotte, Scarlet, sit. Well, this is my buddy Scarlet, and these are some tips and tricks on how you can use the Engage Disengage game to help change your dog's emotional response from being reactive to other dogs.